I'm gonna go over my garage gym so you have an idea of what to get if you're thinking about starting your garage gym or you're gonna be adding more equipment. So the first spot that I started wasn't buying equipment, it was actually understanding my training program. Now, I've been in the fitness space for over a decade, so I have a pretty good understanding of what I need, but when I actually have to buy equipment myself, those dollars matter a lot more. So I started my training program. I knew that I wasn't going to be doing CrossFit, wasn't going to be doing, a whole bunch of Olympic lifting, different modalities like using a med ball. So that eliminated a lot of my equipment. And if you're thinking about buying equipment, start at your training program because your training program is going to dictate if you're going to buy a squat rack, if you're going to buy a barbell, if you're going to buy any of this stuff. Like if you're doing Hyrox, you don't need a squat rack. You don't need a barbell. You're gonna need a lot of cardio equipment, like ski ergs, row ergs. We're talking a bike erg. That's a couple $1,000s right there. So with me, since I'm just strength training, I focus in on the piece de resistance, which was my squat rack. Now, I could have gone with two options, a foldable squat rack or a fully, standalone squat rack. This I found for $800 on Facebook Marketplace, which can be a gold mine, but you can also find a lot of turds there too. So the squat rack came with this platform and it also came with some accessories over here, like some safety bars and a dip bar, which are great. And if I was buying it standalone, I probably would not have got a dip bar. I would have got the safety bars. I just would have focused on the squat rack, but it came all in the package for a good price, $800. If you go to buy something from like Rogue or Rep, it's probably going to cost you at a minimum $1,000. So like I said, you can find gold on Facebook Marketplace. But my training dictated a squat rack. For squats, for presses, for bench, I needed this. This was crucial. The barbell here is next. Luckily, my wife has had this barbell for who knows how long. I'd say like 10 years. So this is, has as much experience than I do in the fitness realm, a decade plus, right? Now the barbells you can spend almost like infinite amount. You could buy a gold-plated, customized barbell for a couple $1,000, and you can buy one from Dick's Sporting Good for like $100. Both ends are too extreme. $50 or $100, do not get it. A couple $1,000, you don't need it. A happy medium range would probably be between 200 to I'd say maybe 400. I honestly would go with Rogue Fitness. They have amazing barbells. Rep Fitness is a good place as well. Those two places are the best. I don't know if you try any other just because they're warranty, right? Rogue has amazing barbells. They stand behind it. It's what I would buy. But again, luckily my wife has had this barbell and it works, right? So if you're gonna get a barbell, if you're gonna get one, again, from like Facebook Marketplace, make sure when you go there, the bar spins and it's gonna fit your needs. This one is a 15 kilo or 33 pound bar. I probably would have got a 45 pound bar, but when it's free, it doesn't matter. Next, the bench. Now the bench, I just needed something for strength training. What was great is that when I got this bench, it actually can incline to go to different levels. Now for my purposes, that's what I needed. I needed to be able to do like 70 degree presses, 90-degree presses, have my kids play on it. If you need a bench, you're gonna have different options, a flat bench or an incline bench. Whatever your training dictates is gonna be the piece of equipment you're gonna buy. Always start with a training program. And then dumbbells, we got these power blocks. It's the Mother's Day gifts. I think they were like $100 off. These ended up costing between $600 to $800. Definitely a good buy because they range from 15 pounds all the way to 90 pounds. If I were to get these just in standalone dumbbells, obviously I would have to get pairs, and that would have cost easily like between, I think, $1,500 to $2,000 because they can get expensive. Buy yourself something that's compact, that is adjustable. These power blocks are made in the USA and have been around for years. Next up, has some random assortment of dumbbells, and these have been here for a while. I bought myself a 35 pound kettlebell for my wife, and then this monstrosity here, I've also had this since I had a gym. It was a gift. Would I have bought this exact one? Probably not, because it's way too expensive. I just would have got it regular 55 pound. But again, I bought equipment based off my training program. Now we're going to go into the essentials. Like, do I need all this stuff? I I would not have got myself a dip bar for my training program, because if I was starting all over again, if I was focused on just buying the necessity of my equipment, I would focus on the squat rack, I would focus on the barbell, I would focus on the bench, and then honestly, flooring. Look, the floor is important. I don't want it to get messed up. It's going to be more expensive to fix it than any of this right here. So I would invest in some great stall mats. Now, it came with a platform. This platform is about 1.5 inches. If I were to drop bumper plates with Olympic weight, do Olympic lifting, nothing would happen to the floor. And at a minimum, you're going to want stall mats that are at least 3/4 inches. Can you pause it real quick? Sorry about that. That was a quick bug break. Good thing I had no bees on me. Anyways, stall mats. 3/4 inches is what you need at a minimum. A lot of times I see people on Facebook Marketplace or even on YouTube Shorts or Instagram putting together some fancy, stall mats that they get from Temu or Amazon that kind of fit together. They're 1/4 inch. That looks nice. It looks pretty. It's going to do jack for actually protecting your floor, because that 1/4 inch compared to this cement floor, it's going to do nothing. 1/2 inch, nothing. You need 3/4 inch stall mats. I've been in the CrossFit space. I've been in the strength conditioning space. If you're dropping weight from overhead, if you're 5 feet or even 6 feet tall, that weight is not going to be 7 to 8 feet tall when you're dropping it from overhead. Times gravity, it's going to mean messed up concrete floors. Don't get anything less than 3/4 inch. Sometimes we focus too much on the squat rack. We focus too much on the actual piece of equipment, which matter. But if your training program dictates that you're going to be dropping weight from overhead, like Olympic lifting, if you don't have a platform, then get yourself stall mats that are 3/4 inch. Anything else, and you're just doing yourself a disservice. You're going to be paying in concrete repairs than you will like spending on equipment. Okay, next, I have this guy right here, the Bike-Erg. Now, I need basic conditioning to warm up, or some days I do, some zone 2 work, or I'm going fast on the bike. I like the bike. You can get yourself a rower, you can get yourself a skier, you can get yourself a sled, whatever piece of equipment that your training program dictates. Remember, we're talking about training program dictates what you should buy for equipment, and then the necessity, the essential piece of equipment. So for me, the essentials were squat rack, a bench, a barbell, this bike. Platform wasn't necessary, but it came with it, so I got it. And then dumbbells. Those were just the necessary pieces of component. And if your training program dictates a cardio piece of equipment, do it. Now, I talk about CrossFit a lot because I was in that space. CrossFit, if you're building a garage gym like that, can get very expensive. You got ski ergs, row ergs, bike ergs, barbells, squat racks, bumper plates, wall balls, kettlebells. You can see, as I mentioned everything, the price tag goes boop, 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 boop. You can easily spend 10K. And if you got money like that, spend it if you want. But if you don't, like most of us, you're just gonna buy equipment that can get the job done. So if you're thinking about doing CrossFit, get yourself one piece of equipment, get yourself a row erg. That's gonna do the best, give you the most bang for your buck. A bumper plates, barbells. Honestly, I'd say you could stop there. Yes, you can get yourself a squat rack. Maybe you can get yourself some mobile squat racks, or if you have space in your wall, a foldable squat rack. But if we're looking bare bones essential for CrossFit, like I said, conditioning piece and a barbell, that's what you're going to base your training on. With bodybuilding and powerlifting, those are going to require different pieces of equipment, which will dictate the necessity of what you need for your training programs. Last, we're going to talk about actual gym space. As you can see, I am in a 2-car garage. Honestly, you could probably fit 4 cars. It's a 27 by 12 foot on one side and on the other side. I'm lucky enough where I could have turned this whole bad boy into a garage gym, right? But I don't, because I got a wife, got kids, and so I am relegated to this corner right here, which eventually will expand. So you have to understand that where you are with your garage and the other stuff in it will also dictate how much space you have. If I were to do this all over again, I would love these cabinets to be gone. And I could probably get a foldable rack to put it up against the wall. And then more things to go up against the wall. Not because I like things that are hidden, but because I want more usable floor space. In a couple of years, I know my training program's going to change. I probably want to do more CrossFit style. Maybe I want to try High Rocks. I need different pieces of equipment. But I want the ability to have floor space. If I could fold away the rack, if I could take my bar, put it there, fold up the bench, put everything up against the wall, then I have all this space, this 12 by 10 space that I can use, rather than having to buy more stall mats and eat up more garage space, which my wife doesn't mind. I don't mind, but my wallet does, and yours will too. So again, if you're thinking about getting into your first garage gym, if you're thinking about buying more pieces of equipment, put a pause on that. You need to focus on 3 things, the primary thing being your training program, then the essential equipment for that training program, and then your actual garage gym space, because all 3 of those will change what equipment you can buy, what training you can do, and how much space you actually can use. Again, we're in a house with a garage. You might be in an apartment and you can't feasibly put a squat rack. So things change. But you always want to ask yourself, what type of training am I going to do? What equipment do I really need? And how can I store it? If you got kids, make sure that they have space they can lift too. So that's what I got. If you like this video, if you want more information about, strength training or even the equipment you need to do your type of training, let me know. Comments below. Subscribe for more.